Naomi's hands hovered over the $500 lobster tail sitting on fine china in front of her. Around her, Chicago's wealthiest elite ate quietly with perfect manners in Alinea, the most expensive restaurant in the city. Across the table, Darius Kane, 6'3" of pure billionaire CEO perfection in a custom Tom Ford suit, watched her with those intense dark eyes. This was it, the moment of truth. Naomi grabbed that lobster with both hands. The woman at the next table gasped. A fork clattered somewhere. But Naomi didn't stop. She bit into that lobster like it was corn on the cob at a summer barbecue, butter dripping down her chin. She said loudly, mouth full. This is good. Darius leaned back in his chair, and instead of looking disgusted like any normal person would, he smiled. Not just any smile. A smile that said he was absolutely delighted. You're fascinating, Darius said, his deep voice smooth as expensive whiskey. Naomi nearly choked on her lobster. This was not how this was supposed to go. But to understand how Naomi Williams ended up eating lobster with her bare hands in front of Chicago's most eligible billionaire bachelor, we need to go back 2 weeks. Back to the day her stepmother Patricia delivered the ultimatum that would change everything. Make sure you hit that subscribe button because this story has more twists than Lake Shore Drive, and you won't want to miss a single moment. Drop a comment and let me know. Have you ever had to pretend to be someone you're not to escape a bad situation? Now, let's dive in. 2 weeks earlier, the Lincoln Park brownstone had been quiet all morning. Too quiet. Naomi sat in her father's old study, looking at the framed photo on the mahogany desk. Samuel Williams smiled back at her from the picture, a strong black man with kind eyes and a sharp business suit. It had been exactly 1 year since his heart attack took him away. 1 year since her world fell apart. I miss you, Daddy, Naomi whispered, touching the frame. The door burst open. Patricia Williams strutted in wearing a too-tight leopard print dress and enough perfume to choke a horse. Her weave was fresh, her nails were long and red, and her face was caked with makeup that didn't quite match her skin tone. Behind her came Shayla, Patricia's daughter, looking like she was headed to a nightclub at 11 in the morning. Her clothes were so tight Naomi wondered how she could breathe. Naomi, darling, Patricia said in that fake sweet voice that made Naomi's skin crawl. We need to talk. Naomi stood up. At 5'4", she was a full head shorter than Patricia, but she straightened her spine. What do you want, Patricia? Such hostility. Patricia pressed a hand to her chest dramatically. I'm just looking out for you, sweetheart. You're 26 now, almost 27. I know how old I am. Shayla giggled, scrolling on her phone. Girl, you're getting old. Better lock down a man soon before. Shayla, hush, Patricia snapped, then turned back to Naomi with a smile that didn't reach her eyes. What my daughter means is that we've been worried about you, all alone in this big house. No boyfriend, no prospects. Your father would want you to be taken care of. Naomi's hands clenched into fists. Don't you dare talk about what my father would want. But it's true, Patricia moved closer. Which is why I've done you a huge favor. I've arranged a date for you. The room felt colder suddenly. You did what? A blind date, Patricia clapped her hands together. With a very successful man. His name is Darius Kane. He owns Kane Industries, you know, that big tech company. He's a billionaire, Naomi, a billionaire, and he's interested in meeting you. Naomi's heart started racing. I don't want a blind date. I don't want anything from you. Well, that's too bad, Patricia said, her voice losing its sweetness. Because this date is happening whether you like it or not. This Friday at Alinea, 8 p.m. I'm not going. Patricia's eyes went cold. She pulled out her phone and showed Naomi a document. Do you remember the clause in your father's will? The one that says you must be married or engaged by your 27th birthday to inherit his estate. Naomi's blood turned to ice. That's in 6 weeks, sweetie, Patricia continued. 6 weeks. If you're not married by then, the entire estate, this house, the car dealerships, the $15 million, all of it goes to me as the surviving spouse. And let's be honest, you haven't exactly been dadding anyone. That's because I've been grieving my father. Time's up for grieving, Shayla said, not looking up from her phone. You need to get married, sis, or we get everything. She said it so casually, like she was talking about the weather. Patricia smiled. So you see, this date is actually helping you. Darius Kane is perfect. Rich, successful, handsome. Marry him, keep your inheritance, everyone wins. And if I refuse, then you lose everything your father worked for, Patricia said simply. Your choice, Naomi. Go on the date or start packing your bags. They left the room, Shayla's loud laughter echoing down the hallway. Naomi sank into her father's chair, her whole body shaking. They were going to take everything, everything her father built, the car dealership chain he started from nothing, the money he saved, the house she grew up in. Patricia had married Naomi's father 5 years ago when Naomi was 21 and away at college. By the time Naomi realized Patricia was only after his money, it was too late. Her father was in love, and he'd changed his will. Now Patricia was using that will to control Naomi's entire life. Naomi grabbed her phone and called the only person she could trust. Lily, I need you now. 30 minutes later, Naomi sat in Lily Chen's apartment in Wicker Park. Lily had been Naomi's best friend since they were 7 years old, back when Naomi's mother was still alive and life was good. Now Lily was a sharp lawyer specializing in trust and estates, and she was currently packing her living room like a caged tiger. I've been telling you to fight this will for a year, Lily said, her black hair swinging as she moved. That marriage clause is ridiculous. We could challenge it. You said it would take years in court, Naomi replied, slumped on the couch. Patricia would drain the estate in legal fees before I ever saw a dime. So what? You're just going to let her force you into marriage? No, Naomi sat up straighter. I'm going to sabotage it. Lily stopped packing. What? She wants me to go on this blind date, right? Fine, I'll go. But I'm going to make sure this Darius Kane runs screaming in the opposite direction. A slow smile spread across Lily's face. I'm listening. Naomi stood up, energy building in her chest. Think about it. Patricia wants me to marry some rich guy. But what if I show up to this date and act completely insane? What if I'm so embarrassing, so absolutely undateable, that no man would want me? You're going to sabotage yourself, Lily asked. Exactly. I'll be the worst date he's ever had. He'll reject me. Patricia can't force me to marry someone who doesn't want me, and I buy myself time to figure out another plan. Lily was quiet for a moment, then she started laughing. This is either genius or completely insane. Both, it's both. Okay, Lily grabbed her tablet. Let me look up this Darius Kane guy, see what we're dealing with. She typed rapidly, then her eyes went wide. Oh no. What? Lily turned the tablet around. Naomi's breath caught in her throat. Darius Kane was possibly the most gorgeous man she'd ever seen. The photo showed him at some charity gala, 6'3" of pure masculine perfection in a tuxedo. His skin was a rich, deep brown that seemed to glow under the camera lights. His fade was so sharp it could cut glass, the precise lines making his strong jawline even more pronounced. He had intense dark eyes, full lips, and the kind of face that belonged on magazine covers. He's 32, Lily read, CEO of Kane Industries worth $2.3 billion, graduated from MIT at 20, built his company from the ground up, known for being extremely private, no social media presence, only does business interviews. Why would a guy like that need a blind date? Naomi asked suspiciously. Maybe Patricia lied about him being interested, Lily suggested. Maybe she paid a matchmaker or something. Doesn't matter. Naomi handed back the tablet, even though her heart was beating faster. Handsome or not, I'm going to make sure he never wants to see me again. How? Naomi grinned. Remember that time in college when we went to that fancy French restaurant and I accidentally used the finger bowl as soup? Lily's eyes lit up. You're going to pretend you have no manners. I'm going to pretend I'm a complete disaster. Bad clothes, messy hair, eating with my hands, the whole thing. One look at me and Mr. Billionaire CEO will go running back to his mansion. This is crazy, Lily said. You got a better idea. Not really, Lily grabbed her laptop. Okay, let's plan Operation Disaster Date. The next few days passed in a blur of preparation. Naomi researched everything about fine dining etiquette so she could do the exact opposite. She practiced talking with her mouth full. She picked out the worst outfit combinations from her closet. Friday came too fast. Naomi stood in front of her bedroom mirror at 7 p.m. looking at herself. Normally, she took pride in her appearance. Her natural hair was usually styled in beautiful twists or a sleek bun. Her clothes were tasteful and professional. Her late father had taught her that presentation mattered. But tonight she was a walking disaster. Her hair was pulled into a messy, lopsided bun with pieces sticking out everywhere. She'd put on minimal makeup, and she'd smudged her lipstick on purpose. She wore a wrinkled white blouse that didn't match her purple skirt, and she'd chosen the ugliest brown shoes she owned. She looked like she'd gotten dressed in the dark during an earthquake. Perfect. Her phone buzzed. A text from Patricia, "Don't embarrass us. The car will pick you up at 7:30. Naomi almost laughed. Patricia had no idea what was coming. At exactly 7:30, a black town car pulled up outside. The driver was a middle-aged white man with a professional smile. "Miss Williams, I'm here to take you to Alinea." The drive through Chicago was beautiful. They passed Millennium Park, all lit up for the evening. Lake Michigan sparkled in the distance. The city lights reflected off the skyscrapers downtown. Naomi's stomach twisted with nerves. What if this didn't work? What if Darius Kane saw through her act? What if? No, she couldn't think like that. This had to work. The car pulled up to Alinea at 7:55. The restaurant was on North Halsted Street in Lincoln Park, one of the most exclusive dining experiences in America. People waited months for a reservation. Naomi took a deep breath and walked inside. The hostess's eyes widened when she saw Naomi's outfit, but she recovered quickly. "Miss Williams, Mr. Kane is waiting for you at table 12. Naomi followed her through the restaurant. It was stunning, all modern design with soft lighting and quiet conversations. Everyone was dressed to perfection. And there, at a private table near the window with a view of the city, sat Darius Kane. The photo hadn't done him justice. He stood when he saw her approaching, and Naomi nearly forgot how to walk. He was wearing a black suit that fit him like it was made specifically for his body, which it probably was. His fade was absolutely perfect, sharp lines cutting across his temples like artwork. His dark eyes held intelligence and something else, curiosity maybe. He was tall, so tall, and his shoulders were broad and his hands looked strong, and his lips curved into a small smile that made Naomi's heart do something weird. "Naomi." His voice was deep and smooth with just a hint of warmth. She had to remember the plan, be a disaster, make him run. "That's me," she said loudly, making several nearby diners look over. She stuck out her hand for an aggressive handshake. Darius took her hand gently, and even through her panic, Naomi noticed how warm his palm was. "It's a pleasure to meet you. I'm Darius." He pulled out her chair like a complete gentleman. Naomi plopped down without grace, her purse sliding off her shoulder and hitting the floor with a thud. Darius picked it up for her. "Here you go." "Thanks," she mumbled, already feeling like this was harder than she thought. He sat across from her, and Naomi could see him taking in her appearance. The messy hair, the mismatched clothes, the smudged lipstick. But instead of looking disgusted, he just looked interested. "I hope you like this restaurant," Darius said. "I know it's a bit formal, but the food is exceptional." "Oh, I love food," Naomi said too loudly. "I could eat anything. I'm like a garbage disposal, you know. Just throw it in and I'll eat it." A slight smile played at the corner of his mouth. "Good to know you have a healthy appetite." The sommelier appeared with the wine menu. Darius ordered something expensive in French that Naomi couldn't pronounce. When the wine came, Naomi grabbed her glass and took a huge gulp like it was water. Around them, people were sipping delicately. "This is good," Naomi announced. "Tastes like grapes." "That would be because it's made from grapes," Darius said, and was that amusement in his voice. The waiter came to take their order. Darius ordered in perfect French, his pronunciation flawless. When the waiter turned to Naomi, she panicked. "I'll have, the lobster thing, and the pasta, and whatever that other thing was he said. The waiter blinked. The tasting menu, miss. Sure, yeah, that. After the waiter left, Darius leaned forward slightly. So, Naomi, tell me about yourself. This was it, time to be completely undateable. Well, Naomi said, scratching her head and making her messy bun even messier. I live in a big house with my stepmom and stepsister. I don't really do much. I mean, I used to work at my dad's car dealerships, but now I mostly just sit around. Watch TV, eat snacks. Sometimes I don't shower for like 3 days. She watched for his reaction. Darius nodded slowly. Grief can make daily tasks feel overwhelming. You lost your father recently. Naomi blinked. That was not the response she expected. Yeah, a year ago. I'm sorry for your loss, Darius said, and he sounded genuine. My mother passed when I was 19. I remember that first year. Everything felt pointless. Something in Naomi's chest tightened. She pushed it away. Stay focused on the plan. Yeah, well, I'm over it now, she lied. So what about you? Why does a big fancy CEO need a blind date? Can't find a woman on your own. Most men would have been offended by her rudeness. Darius just laughed, a rich, warm sound that did weird things to Naomi's stomach. Fair question, he said. The truth is, my assistant set this up. She worries I work too much. When your matchmaker contacted my office, my assistant jumped on it before I could say no. So you didn't want to be here? Naomi asked. I didn't say that. His dark eyes met hers directly. I'm finding this evening very interesting. The first course arrived. Some kind of fancy foam thing with microgreens. Naomi stared at it. She was supposed to eat this with her hands, but it was literally foam. How did you eat foam with your hands? She picked up the entire small plate and tried to sip from it like a cup. The foam got on her nose. Darius coughed, but it sounded suspiciously like he was covering a laugh. Naomi put the plate down, foam still on her face. This is weird food, man. Here, Darius handed her his napkin, his eyes dancing with amusement. Thanks, she wiped her face, smearing her lipstick even more. You won't believe what happens when the main course arrives. But first, if you're enjoying this story, hit that like button and drop a comment telling me, what's the worst date you've ever been on? Now, back to Naomi's disaster date. The courses kept coming. Each one was more elaborate than the last. Naomi did her best to be absolutely horrible. She talked with her mouth full. She made loud eating noises. She asked inappropriate questions. So how much money do you make exactly? She asked between courses. Enough, Darius replied smoothly. Like millions. Something like that. Do you have a yacht? 2, actually. That's excessive, man. You only need 1 boat. Darius smiled that almost smile again. You're probably right. Naomi was getting frustrated. Nothing she did seemed to bother him. He just kept looking at her with those intense dark eyes like she was a puzzle he was trying to solve. Then the lobster arrived. It was beautiful, perfectly cooked, butter glistening, presented on fine china with delicate garnishes. This was it, the moment that would definitely make him leave. Naomi looked at the array of silverware beside her plate. Then she looked at Darius, who was watching her with interest. She reached out with both hands and grabbed the lobster tail. The woman at the next table gasped audibly. A fork clattered to the floor somewhere. The waiter froze mid-step. Naomi bit into that lobster like it was chicken from a bucket, butter dripping down her chin and onto her already wrinkled blouse. She said loudly, mouth completely full. This is so good. She looked at Darius, waiting for disgust, horror, anything that would make him walk out. Instead, he leaned back in his chair, a full smile spreading across his handsome face. You're fascinating, he said. Naomi nearly choked on her lobster. What? Most women I meet are so concerned with being perfect, Darius continued, his voice low and warm. They say what they think I want to hear. They act like they're auditioning for a role. But you, he shook his head slightly. You don't care at all what I think. It's refreshing. No. This was not supposed to happen. I'm eating lobster with my hands, Naomi said, waving the tail for emphasis. More butter dripped onto the table. I can see that, Darius said, amusement clear in his voice. You're enjoying your food without pretense. There's something honest about that. I haven't showered in 3 days, Naomi lied desperately. I doubt that. You smell like lavender. Naomi's mouth fell open. Damn it, she'd forgotten about her body lotion. Darius picked up his fork and knife, cutting his own lobster with perfect precision. Tell me something real, Naomi. What did you want to be when you were a little girl? The question caught her off guard. What? Your dreams, before life got complicated. What did little Naomi want? She shouldn't answer. She should say something ridiculous and end this date. But something about the way he asked, the genuine interest in his eyes, made her tell the truth. I wanted to be a business owner, she said quietly, like my dad. He started with one car dealership and built it into a chain of 12 across Illinois. I used to go to work with him on Saturdays when I was little. He'd let me sit in his office and help with paperwork. She smiled at the memory. I loved seeing how he treated people. Fair deals, honest prices. He said business was about building trust. That's beautiful, Darius said softly. Did you study business? MBA from Northwestern, Naomi said before she could stop herself. Graduated top of my class. Impressive. Darius took a sip of his wine. So why aren't you running those dealerships now? The question hit too close to home. Naomi remembered the plan be a disaster. Because I'm lazy, she said, picking up another piece of lobster with her hands. Why work when I can just inherit money, right? But Darius tilted his head, studying her. I don't think you're lazy at all. I think something's stopping you. His perception was terrifying. Naomi stuffed more food in her mouth to avoid answering. The rest of the meal continued in the same pattern. Naomi did everything wrong. She slurped her soup. She talked too loud. She told terrible jokes. And Darius just seemed more and more entertained. By the time dessert arrived, some fancy chocolate thing with gold leaf, Naomi was exhausted from trying to be awful. I had a wonderful time tonight, Darius said as the waiter cleared their plates. Really? Naomi couldn't hide her disbelief. I've been a complete mess. You've been yourself, Darius corrected. Or at least you've been interesting. I'd like to see you again. What? No, that's not I mean. Darius pulled out a business card, writing something on the back. This is my personal number. Call me if you'd like to have dinner again. Somewhere less formal, maybe, where you can eat with your hands without causing a scene. Was he teasing her? His eyes suggested he was. I don't think. No pressure, Darius said, standing. His tall frame towered over the table. But I hope you'll consider it. You're the most genuine person I've met in a long time, Naomi Williams. He walked her outside where the town car was waiting. Before she got in, Darius took her hand gently. Thank you for tonight, he said. Then he was gone, walking to his own car, a sleek black Mercedes, and driving away into the Chicago night. Naomi sat in the back of the town car, completely stunned. What the hell just happened? She'd done everything wrong, everything, and he still wanted to see her again. She looked down at the business card in her hand. Darius Kane, CEO, Kane Industries, and on the back in elegant handwriting, call me. D. Her phone buzzed. A text from Lily. How did it go? Did he run screaming? Naomi didn't know how to answer. The plan had failed spectacularly. But somehow, impossibly, Darius Kane wanted a second date. When Naomi got home, the brownstone was dark except for the living room. She tried to sneak upstairs, but Patricia's voice stopped her. Naomi, come here. Patricia and Shayla were on the couch, still dressed up like they'd been somewhere fancy. They looked at Naomi with eager expressions. Well, Patricia demanded, how did it go? It was fine, Naomi said carefully. Fine, just fine, Shayla sat up. Did he like you? Did he ask you out again? I don't think. Because if you mess this up, Patricia interrupted, standing, I swear, Naomi, you will regret it. Darius Kane is perfect. Rich, successful, handsome. If you ruin this opportunity. He gave me his number, Naomi blurted out. Patricia's eyes went wide. He did. He wants to see me again. Shayla's mouth fell open. How? You went out looking like that. She gestured at Naomi's wrinkled, butter-stained outfit. I don't know, Naomi said honestly. Look, I'm tired, I'm going to bed. She didn't wait for their response, just ran upstairs to her room and locked the door. Sitting on her bed, Naomi called Lily. It was a disaster, Naomi said as soon as Lily answered. Good disaster or bad disaster? I ate lobster with my hands, Lily. I talked with my mouth full. I looked like a mess. I was horrible. And he thought it was charming. Naomi flopped backward on her bed. He said I was refreshing. He gave me his personal number. He wants a second date. Lily was quiet for a moment, then started laughing. Oh my God, you accidentally made him fall for you by trying to scare him away. This isn't funny. It's hilarious. What are you going to do? I don't know. Naomi stared at the ceiling. Patricia's going to push for me to keep seeing him, and if I refuse, she'll just set up another blind date. But if I keep going out with him, you might actually have to spend time with a gorgeous billionaire who thinks you're fascinating, Lily suggested. Yeah, sounds terrible, Lily. I'm just saying, would it be so bad? You said he was nice. Was Naomi admitted. Too nice. He asked about my dreams and actually listened. He was respectful and funny, and you're attracted to him. That's not the point. The point is I can't actually marry him. I need to keep my options open, figure out a way to break that stupid will clause without getting trapped in a marriage. So go on another date, Lily suggested. Act even crazier. Eventually he'll get tired of it. But Naomi wasn't sure anymore. Because when Darius looked at her with those intense dark eyes, she hadn't felt judged. She'd felt seen. And that was more terrifying than any plan Patricia could come up with. Naomi looked at the business card on her nightstand. This was supposed to be simple. Sabotage the date, stay single, buy time. But nothing about Darius Kane was simple. And something told Naomi that her life was about to get a whole lot more complicated. Monday morning came too fast. Naomi sat at her kitchen table, staring at Darius Kane's business card like it might explode. She'd been staring at it for 3 days now, all weekend, and she still hadn't called. The card sat there, mocking her with its simple elegance, just like the man himself. Girl, you're going to burn a hole through that card with your eyes, Lily said through the phone on speaker. Just call him or don't. It's not that simple, Naomi replied, poking at her scrambled eggs. If I call him, Patricia wins. But if I don't call him, she'll just set up another blind date with some other random rich guy. So call him and be even more of a disaster this time, Lily suggested. You went easy on him at Alinea. Next time, really commit to the chaos. Before Naomi could respond, her doorbell rang. Someone's at the door. I'll call you back, Naomi said, hanging up. She shuffled to the front door in her pajamas, pink pants with little clouds on them and an old Northwestern t-shirt. Her natural hair was wrapped in a silk bonnet. When she opened the door, there was no one there. But sitting on her doorstep was a massive bouquet of sunflowers. And not just any sunflowers. There had to be at least 3 dozen of them, arranged in a beautiful crystal vase. What in the world? Naomi looked up and down the street, but the delivery person was already gone. She picked up the heavy vase and brought it inside, her heart doing that weird fluttery thing again. There was a card tucked between the flowers. The handwriting was elegant and precise. Thank you for Friday night. I haven't laughed that hard in years. The Lobster sends its regards. Naomi couldn't help it. She smiled. Then she caught herself and frowned. No, she was not going to be charmed by flowers and a good sense of humor. Who sent flowers? Patricia's voice came from the stairs. Naomi spun around to find her stepmother descending in a purple silk robe, her face covered in some kind of green face mask. Shayla followed behind her, recording everything on her phone as usual. Nobody, Naomi said quickly, but Patricia had already spotted the card. She snatched it from Naomi's hand, her green face mask cracking as she smiled. Darius Kane sent you flowers, sunflowers. Do you know how much these cost? I really don't care. This is perfect. Patricia clapped her hands together. He's interested, very interested. You need to call him right now. Call him when I'm ready, Naomi said, trying to take the card back. Patricia held it out of reach. You'll call him today, this morning, right now actually. It's 8 a.m. on a Monday. He's probably in a meeting or... Then leave a message. Patricia thrust the card at her. Naomi, I'm not playing with you. You have 5 weeks and 6 days until your 27th birthday. 5 weeks and 6 days to secure a marriage proposal or you lose everything. Do you understand? Everything. Reminder hit Naomi like cold water. Very aware of the timeline, Patricia. Then act like it. Patricia's voice rose. Shayla, tell her. Shayla looked up from her phone where she was clearly editing the flower delivery for her Instagram story. You better lock him down, sis. That man is fine and rich. If you don't want him, I'll take him. You're 24, Naomi pointed out. The will doesn't apply to you. Exactly. Which means if you mess this up and lose the inheritance, at least I could marry him and get the money another way. Shayla laughed like she'd said something clever. Patricia nodded. She has a point. Naomi's grip tightened on the card. These two were unbelievable. Handle it my way, Naomi said firmly. Now if you'll excuse me, I have things to do. She grabbed the vase of sunflowers and carried them upstairs to her room, leaving Patricia sputtering behind her. Once in her bedroom, Naomi set the flowers on her dresser and pulled out her phone. She needed to talk to Lily again, come up with a new plan, something more extreme that would definitely. Her phone rang, unknown number. Naomi's heart jumped. She answered cautiously. Hello, good morning, Naomi. That deep, smooth voice was unmistakable. Darius Kane. How did you get my number? Naomi asked, then realized how rude that sounded. I mean, hi, good morning. Stepmother gave it to my assistant, Darius explained. I hope that's all right. I wanted to make sure you received the flowers. Naomi looked at the sunflowers. They really were beautiful. Yeah, I got them there. Nice, thank you. You sound suspicious, Darius said, and she could hear the smile in his voice. Are you worried the flowers are secretly evil? Despite herself, Naomi laughed. Maybe. Rich people flowers are different. They might have ulterior motives. Just flowers, I promise. Though they did ask me to tell you they'd like to brighten your day. The flowers talked to you. We had a whole conversation, Darius replied seriously. They're very articulate for plants. Naomi found herself smiling again. Stop it, she told herself. Focus on the plan. So, why are you calling? She asked. I wanted to ask if you'd like to have dinner with me again, Darius said. This Friday, somewhere more casual. I promise you can eat with your hands and no one will faint. This was it. The moment to say no, to tell him she wasn't interested to. Okay, Naomi heard herself say. What? No, that wasn't the plan. Wonderful, Darius said, sounding genuinely pleased. I'll pick you up at 7, sure. Yeah, 7 is fine. Great, I'm looking forward to it, Naomi. He hung up. Naomi stared at her phone in horror. She'd just agreed to a second date. What was wrong with her? Her phone immediately rang again. Lily. I just agreed to another date with him, Naomi said without greeting. What? I thought you were going to ignore him, he called. And he was funny and sweet and he sent sunflowers, Lily. My favorite flowers. How did he even know? Lucky guess, Lily suggested. Or he's good at research. Rich guys have people who research this stuff. What am I going to do? Same plan as before, Lily said firmly. But bigger, worse. You need to be so terrible that even his patience runs out. Can you do that? Naomi thought about Darius's smile, the way he'd looked at her like she was the most interesting person in the room. Yeah, she said, ignoring the small voice in her head that whispered she was lying. I can do that. Tuesday morning, another delivery arrived. This time it was a box from Garrett Popcorn, the famous Chicago shop. Inside were 5 different flavors, all gourmet, all expensive. The note read, "For your lazy days watching TV, though I still don't believe you're lazy." Naomi wanted to be annoyed. She really did, but the popcorn was delicious. Wednesday brought a package containing a first edition copy of the E-Myth Revisited, a classic business book. The note, for the future business owner who's just taking a break. He remembered their conversation about her dreams. He'd actually listened. Naomi's resolve was weakening. Thursday morning, she woke up to find a brand new coffee maker on her doorstep. One of those fancy Italian espresso machines that cost more than most people's monthly rent. The note, because everyone deserves good coffee, even on difficult days. See you tomorrow. He's trying to buy your affection, Patricia squealed when she saw the espresso machine. She'd been monitoring every delivery like a hawk. This is perfect, he's falling for you, or he's just being nice, Naomi muttered. Nice, nice. Patricia laughed. Men like Darius Kane don't send gifts like this to be nice. He's courting you, you fool. This is exactly what we need. Shayla was recording the espresso machine for her social media. My followers are going crazy over this love story. Poor girl catches billionaire's heart. They're eating it, posting about MY life, Naomi demanded. This is quality content. I've gained 3,000 followers since Friday. Naomi wanted to throw the espresso machine at both of them. Instead, she went to her room and called Lily for an emergency meeting. That evening, Naomi sat in Lily's apartment again, stress-eating Chinese takeout. "He's good," Lily said, scrolling through her tablet. "I looked into him more. Darius Kane is known for being thoughtful in business. He remembers details about people, uses that information strategically. He's doing the same thing with you. It's all a strategy," Naomi asked, trying to ignore the disappointment in her stomach. "Maybe. Or maybe he actually likes you." Lily set down her tablet. "The question is, do you like him? Doesn't matter if I like him. I need to get rid of him before Patricia uses this to manipulate me even more." "Then tomorrow night, you need to go all out," Lily said seriously. "And I'm going to help you." Friday arrived like a freight train. Naomi spent the entire day preparing for Operation Disaster Date, Part 2. This time she was going to be so embarrassing, so absolutely unbearable, that even patient, understanding Darius Kane would have to give up. Lily came over at 5 p.m. to help. "Okay," Lily said, pulling clothes out of Naomi's closet. "Last time you went with mismatched and wrinkled. This time we're going full chaos." She pulled out bright orange pants that Naomi had bought as a joke and never worn. Then she found a lime green sweater with a giant sequined cat on the front. "I can't wear that together," Naomi protested. "That's the point." Lily held them up. "Add these purple sneakers and you'll look like a traffic accident." "Where did you even find those sneakers?" "I don't own purple sneakers." "I brought them," Lily said proudly. "I came prepared." Hair, they decided to go with the most elaborate, over-the-top style possible. Naomi's natural hair was pulled into 7 tiny buns all over her head, each one secured with a different colored scrunchie. "I look insane," Naomi said, staring at herself in the mirror. "You look perfectly insane," Lily corrected. "Now for behavior. Last time you ate with your hands. This time you need to be loud, inappropriate, and oversharing. Ask uncomfortable questions. Tell weird stories. Make him so uncomfortable he can't wait to leave." "Can do that," Naomi said, though her stomach was twisting. "Can you, though?" Lily looked at her seriously. "Because I saw your face when you talked about those gifts he sent. You're starting to like him." "I am not, Naomi. He sent you sunflowers, your favorite, and business books, and a coffee maker. The man is paying attention." "That doesn't mean—" "Just promise me you'll remember the goal," Lily interrupted. "Stay single, protect the inheritance, buy time to fight the will. Don't let a handsome face and thoughtful gifts distract you." "I won't," Naomi promised. At 6:30, Patricia burst into Naomi's room without knocking. "Are you ready? Did you pick out something nice? I bought you a new dress, let me." She stopped dead when she saw Naomi's outfit. "What are you wearing?" "Clothes," Naomi said innocently. "You look like a rainbow threw up on you," Patricia screeched. "And your hair, what did you do to your beautiful hair?" "I styled it." "You look ridiculous, change right now." "No," Patricia's face turned red. "Naomi Williams, if you embarrass me, how would I embarrass you? It's my date." "That man is too good for you anyway," Patricia snapped. "I don't know what he sees in you. You're plain, you're difficult, you're—" "Enough, Patricia," Naomi said quietly. Something in her voice made Patricia stop. They stared at each other for a long moment. Then Patricia turned and stormed out, muttering about ungrateful stepdaughters. The doorbell rang at exactly 7 p.m. Naomi took a deep breath, checked her ridiculous reflection one more time, and went downstairs. Patricia and Shayla were already at the door. Patricia had changed into an evening gown like she was the one going on the date. Shayla had her phone out, recording. Naomi opened the door. Darius Kane stood on her doorstep looking like he'd stepped out of a magazine. Dark jeans that fit perfectly, a crisp white button-down shirt with the sleeves rolled up showing his forearms, and a black leather jacket. His fade was freshly cut, sharp enough to cut diamonds. His dark eyes sparkled with, was that amusement he was looking at her outfit. All of it. The orange pants, the lime green cat sweater, the purple sneakers, the 7 tiny buns with colored scrunchies. Naomi waited for disgust, shock, anything negative. Darius smiled. A full, genuine smile that showed perfect white teeth and made his whole face light up. "You look like a party," he said. "That's not a compliment," Naomi replied. "It absolutely is. I love parties." He turned to Patricia and Shayla. "Good evening, Mrs. Williams. You must be Shayla." "Oh, Mr. Kane," Patricia practically melted. "Please call me Patricia." "We're so happy you're taking our Naomi out again." "I'm happy," she agreed, Darius said politely. Then he turned back to Naomi. "Ready?" "Sure." They walked to his car, a different one this time. A sleek black Range Rover. He opened the passenger door for her like a gentleman. Naomi climbed in, her orange pants nearly glowing in the car's interior lighting. If you're loving this disaster of a date, make sure you hit that like button and let me know in the comments. What's the craziest outfit you've ever worn to impress someone? Or to scare them away? Now let's see what Naomi does next. Darius got in the driver's seat and started the car. Smooth jazz played softly from the speakers. So where are we going? Naomi asked. Malnati's, Darius said. Best deep dish pizza in Chicago. Very casual. You can eat with your hands and it's actually encouraged. Oh no. He'd chosen a place where her hand eating would be normal. Love Lou Malnati's, Naomi said before she could stop herself. I thought you might, Darius replied, pulling out into traffic. You seem like a Chicago deep dish person. They drove through the city, the evening lights reflecting off Lake Michigan in the distance. The silence should have been awkward, but it wasn't. It was almost. Comfortable, no. Focus. Operation Disaster Date. So, Naomi said loudly, making him glance over. Do you have any weird diseases? Like anything contagious? Because I should probably know that. Most people would have been offended. Darius just laughed. No contagious diseases. Clean bill of health. You, me. Oh, I'm a mess. Allergies, random rashes, sometimes my left eye twitches for no reason. She demonstrated by forcing her eye to twitch. See, fascinating, Darius said, his lips twitching like he was fighting a smile. They arrived at Lou Malnati's in River North. It was packed with families, couples, groups of friends, a typical Friday night crowd. The hostess recognized Darius immediately. Mr. Kane, your table is ready. You called ahead, Naomi asked. I wanted to make sure we didn't have to wait, Darius explained. I figured you were hungry. He was thoughtful. Of course he was thoughtful. Why couldn't he be a jerk? This would be so much easier if he was a jerk. They were seated at a booth in the back, away from the main crowd. It was private but still casual, exactly the kind of place Naomi would have chosen for herself. The waiter came over. What can I get you folks to drink? Water, Naomi said loudly. With extra ice, like a lot of ice. Actually, can you just bring me a cup of ice with a little bit of water? The waiter blinked. Sure. Have the same, Darius said smoothly. When in Rome. After the waiter left, Darius leaned forward. So Naomi, tell me something weird about you. What? You asked me about diseases. Fair is fair. Tell me something weird, something you've never told anyone on a first date. This was her chance. Say something absolutely bizarre. I collect potato chip bags, Naomi blurted out. Like I eat the chips and then I keep the bags. I have hundreds of them. That is weird, Darius agreed. Why? Because they're shiny. Fair enough. I collect vintage lunch boxes. Naomi blinked. What? Lunch boxes from the 70s and 80s. I have about 200 of them. Star Wars, He-Man, the A-Team. They're in a climate-controlled storage unit. You're making that up. Absolutely not. Darius pulled out his phone and showed her photos. Sure enough, there were rows and rows of vintage lunch boxes in what looked like a storage facility. That's actually kind of cool, Naomi said before she could stop herself. Thank you. I started collecting them when I was building my first company. I was working 20-hour days, barely sleeping, eating ramen. But I'd passed this vintage shop on my way home and they had this Empire Strikes Back lunch box in the window. It reminded me of being a kid when life was simpler, so I bought it. Then you couldn't stop, Naomi guessed. Exactly, Darius smiled. Now I have a problem. My assistant says I need intervention, Naomi laughed, a real laugh. Then she caught herself. No, stay focused. The pizza arrived, a massive deep dish with sausage and peppers. It looked and smelled incredible. This is the moment of truth, Darius said. Chicago deep dish technique. What's yours? What do you mean? Some people use a fork and knife. Some people fold it. Some people eat the toppings first and save the crust. Everyone has a method. I just eat it, Naomi said. Show me. Naomi grabbed a huge slice with both hands. Cheese stretched everywhere, sauce dripped onto her plate. She took an enormous bite, getting sauce on her nose and chin. She said with her mouth completely full, "Es good." Darius picked up his own slice neatly, using a napkin to catch any drips. You eat like someone who really loves food. It's nice. Not bothered that I'm a mess. Why would I be bothered? You're enjoying yourself. He took a bite of his own pizza. Life's too short to worry about eating perfectly all the time. Naomi stared at him. Who was this man? Okay, new question, she said, deciding to go for broke. What's your biggest flaw? And don't say you're a perfectionist or you work too hard. Give me something real. Darius considered this while chewing. I have trust issues, he finally said. I've been burned by people who wanted me for my money, so now I assume everyone has an ulterior motive. It makes it hard to let people in. Honesty in his voice caught Naomi off guard. That's actually a real answer, she said quietly. You asked for real. He looked at her directly. Your turn. What's your biggest flaw? Naomi thought about lying, but something about the way he'd been honest made her want to be honest too. I'm scared, she admitted. Of losing the people I love, of not being good enough, of failing my father's legacy, so I push people away before they can leave me first. The words hung in the air between them. That's not a flaw, Darius said softly. That's being human. Their eyes met across the table. For a moment, Naomi forgot about the plan. She forgot about Patricia and the inheritance and the marriage deadline. She just saw a man who was looking at her like she mattered. Then her phone buzzed aggressively. She looked down. 7 text messages from Patricia. How is it going? Is he having a good time? Make him like you. Smile more. Remember what's at stake. Don't mess this up. Respond to me. Reality came crashing back. This wasn't real. This couldn't be real. Darius was part of Patricia's plan to control her life. The only reason Naomi was here was because of a stupid clause in a will designed to manipulate her. Everything okay? Darius asked, noticing her expression change. Fine, Naomi said, putting her phone away. Just my stepmother being herself. She seems very invested in our date. You have no idea. They finished their pizza, and Naomi tried several more times to be weird or off-putting. She told inappropriate stories. She laughed too loud at her own jokes. She asked invasive questions about his finances. Nothing worked. Darius either answered honestly or laughed like she was the most entertaining person he'd ever met. When they got back in his car, Naomi was exhausted from trying so hard. There's one more place I want to take you, Darius said. If that's okay. Where? You'll see. He drove along Lake Shore Drive, the city lights twinkling beside Lake Michigan. They headed north until they reached Navy Pier. Pier, Naomi asked. Come on. They got out and walked along the pier. It was beautiful at night. Lights everywhere, the Ferris wheel lit up against the dark sky, the lake stretching out endlessly. Darius bought 2 hot chocolates from a vendor and they walked to the end of the pier, away from the crowds. This is my favorite spot in Chicago, Darius said, looking out at the water. When everything gets overwhelming, I come here. The lake reminds me that there are things bigger than my problems. Naomi sipped her hot chocolate, the sweetness warming her from the inside. It's beautiful. Are you? Naomi nearly dropped her cup. What? You're beautiful, Darius repeated, turning to face her. And I'm not talking about how you look, though those 7 buns are growing on me. I mean you. The way you talk about your father, the way you're honest even when it's uncomfortable, the way you eat like you actually enjoy food instead of treating it like an obligation. You're real, Naomi. In a world where everyone's fake, you're real. Naomi's heart was pounding. You don't know me. I'd like to, Darius said. If you'll let me. This was it. The moment where she should tell him the truth, that this was all a setup, that her stepmother was trying to force her into marriage, that none of this was real. But when she opened her mouth, different words came out. Why me? You could date anyone, supermodels, celebrities, anyone. Why are you interested in a mess like me? Darius smiled. Because everyone else is trying to be what they think I want. You're the only person who's tried to scare me away. It's refreshing. If I'm not actually this weird. What if this is all an act? Is it? Naomi thought about the orange pants, the 7 buns, the loud eating. Maybe. Then I'd like to meet the real you too, Darius said simply. They stood there in the cool Chicago night, the Ferris wheel turning slowly behind them, the lake whispering against the pier. Naomi felt something shifting inside her, something dangerous. She was starting to actually like Darius Kane. And that was a problem. When Darius dropped her off at home, he walked her to the door again. Thank you for tonight, he said. I had a great time, even with the orange pants. They are pretty orange, Naomi admitted. They're memorable. He smiled, that smile that made her stomach flip. Can I see you again? Say no, her brain screamed. This is getting too complicated. Maybe, her mouth said instead. Take maybe. Darius pulled out his phone. Put your number in here, the real one, so I can call you directly instead of going through your stepmother. Naomi hesitated, then took his phone and entered her number. Good night, Naomi Williams, Darius said softly. Good night, Darius Kane. She watched him walk back to his car, her heart doing gymnastics in her chest. When she went inside, Patricia and Shayla were waiting up like vultures. Well, Patricia demanded. How was it? Fine. Fine? What does fine mean? Did he kiss you? Did he propose? Did he? We just had pizza, Patricia. Calm down. Pizza. Patricia looked horrified. He took you for pizza. That's so cheap. I thought he was a billionaire. It was Lou Malnati's. It was nice. Shayla looked up from editing her social media post. My followers want to know if you're in love yet. Your followers to mind their business, Naomi snapped. She went upstairs before they could ask more questions. In her room, Naomi looked at herself in the mirror. Orange pants, lime green cat sweater, 7 tiny buns with colored scrunchies. She tried so hard to be a disaster. And somehow she'd had one of the best nights of her life. Her phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number, *, thank you again for tonight. Those 7 buns are still making me smile. Sweet dreams. *, Naomi saved his number in her phone, then she called Lily. In trouble, Naomi said as soon as Lily answered. What happened? I like him, Lily. I actually like him. No is right. Naomi flopped onto her bed. He's thoughtful and funny, and he looked at me like I wasn't crazy even though I was wearing 7 buns and orange pants. What am I supposed to do with that? The plan's not working, Lily said unnecessarily. You think? So what now? Naomi stared at the ceiling. I don't know, but I have 5 weeks to figure it out before everything falls apart. Naomi's plan is backfiring badly. The more she tries to push Darius away, the harder he falls. But what happens when he discovers the real reason behind her bizarre behavior? And what is Patricia planning next? Don't go anywhere. You need to find out what happens next. The next 2 weeks were the strangest of Naomi's life. Darius called her every single day. Not texts, actual phone calls where they talked for hours about everything and nothing. He told her about his childhood in South Side Chicago, growing up with a single mom who worked 3 jobs to keep him in good schools. She told him about her father, about learning to change oil in the dealership garage when she was 10, about her mother who died when she was 12. He sent more gifts. Not expensive ones this time, thoughtful ones. A bag of gummy bears because she mentioned loving them. A Cubs baseball cap because she'd said she missed going to games with her dad. A book of terrible dad jokes because he'd heard her laugh at one during their phone call. And every gift made it harder to remember why she was supposed to push him away. They went on 3 more dates. A comedy show in Lakeview where Naomi laughed so hard she snorted, and Darius said it was the best sound he'd ever heard. A walk through Millennium Park where they got caught in the rain and ended up sharing his jacket. A visit to the Art Institute where Darius admitted he didn't understand modern art and Naomi made up ridiculous explanations for every piece until they were both crying with laughter. Naomi stopped trying to be a disaster. She wore normal clothes. She did her hair beautifully. She let herself be herself. And Darius seemed to like the real Naomi even more than the chaotic version. But Patricia was watching everything like a hawk, getting more excited with each date, more pushy about marriage, more convinced her plan was working perfectly. And Naomi's 27th birthday, the deadline, was now 3 weeks away. It was Wednesday afternoon when everything started to fall apart. Naomi was in her father's study, going through old business files when her phone rang. Darius's name lit up the screen and she smiled automatically now when she saw it. Hey, she answered. Yourself. His voice was warm. What are you doing? Looking through boring paperwork. You? Same, actually. CEO life is very glamorous, mostly signing things and reading contracts. He paused. I have a question for you, okay? My company is having a charity gala on Saturday night. It's a big event, black tie, very formal, kind of boring actually. But I was wondering if you'd come with me. As my date. Naomi's heart jumped. A gala. I know it's not as fun as deep dish pizza, but there will be food and dancing and full disclosure. A lot of rich people talking about boring things, but I'd really like you to be there. With me? Darius, you can say no, he interrupted gently. No pressure, I want people to meet you. I want them to see what I see. Naomi closed her eyes. 3 weeks until the deadline. 3 weeks until she either found a way to break that will clause or lost everything her father built. Going to a public event with Darius would make Patricia unbearable. It would fuel her pushing for marriage. It would complicate everything. Yes, Naomi heard herself say. I'd love to go. Darius sounded genuinely happy. That's great. I'll pick you up at 7 on Saturday. After they hung up, Naomi sat in the quiet study, her father's photo watching her from the desk. I don't know what I'm doing, Daddy, she whispered. I'm supposed to be protecting your legacy, but I think I'm falling for him. What do I do? The photo didn't answer, but Naomi could almost hear her father's voice. Follow your heart, baby girl, but keep your eyes open. The study door burst open without warning. Patricia stood there with Shayla, both of them grinning like sharks. We heard, Patricia squealed. The gala, he's taking you to his company gala. Do you know what this means? That I need a dress, Naomi suggested dryly. It means he's getting serious. Patricia clapped her hands. You'll meet his business associates, his friends, his world. This is huge, Naomi. Huge. Shayla was already on her phone. I'm posting about this. Cinderella goes to the ball, my followers will die. You're not posting about my life, Naomi said firmly. Too late, already posted. Shayla showed her phone. Sure enough, there was a post with a photo of Naomi and some ridiculous caption about fairy tales coming true. Naomi wanted to throw the phone out the window. We need to go shopping, Patricia announced. You need the perfect dress. Hair, makeup, everything. You need to look absolutely stunning. This is your moment to lock him down, Naomi. 3 weeks until your birthday, 3 weeks. We can't waste this opportunity. I can dress myself, Patricia. Clearly not, since you showed up to your first date looking like a homeless person, Patricia snapped. No, I'm taking control of this. We're going to Michigan Avenue tomorrow. Shayla, clear your schedule. I'm not going shopping with you too, Naomi said. Patricia's eyes went cold. Yes, you are, because if you mess this up, if you lose Darius Kane because you dressed poorly or said something stupid, you will lose everything. And I mean everything, Naomi. This house, the dealerships, every penny, you'll have nothing. Is that what you want? The threat hung in the air. Naomi's hands clenched into fists under the desk. Fine, we'll go shopping. Patricia's smile returned instantly. Wonderful, tomorrow at 10, wear something decent. And Shayla left, already planning their shopping strategy. As soon as they were gone, Naomi called Lily. Emergency, Naomi said. I need you. 20 minutes later, they sat in a coffee shop in Wicker Park, far from Patricia's prying eyes and Shayla's constant recording. It's getting worse, Naomi said, wrapping her hands around her latte. Patricia's practically planning our wedding. Shayla's posting every detail online for her followers. And she stopped. And you're falling for him, Lily finished softly. Yeah, Naomi slumped in her chair. I didn't mean to, I tried not to, but he's really great, Lily. He listens when I talk. He remembers things I mention in passing. He makes me laugh. When I'm with him, I forget about all the Patricia drama and the will and the inheritance. I just feel happy. That's not a bad thing, Naomi. It is if it's not real, Naomi's voice rose. What if he only likes me because Patricia set this up? What if he feels obligated? What if when he finds out about the will and the marriage deadline, he thinks I was using him? Were you using him? At first, I was trying to scare him away. Then I was just trying to survive until I could figure out a legal solution. But now, Naomi put her head in her hands. Now I actually care about him and I don't know what to do. Lily was quiet for a moment thinking. You need to tell him the truth. What? Tell him everything. About the will, about Patricia's manipulation, about the deadline. If he's as great as you say, he'll understand. And if he doesn't, Lily shrugged. Then at least you'll know before you get in any deeper. He'll think I'm crazy or a gold digger or both. Or he'll help you fight it, Lily suggested. Rich guys have lawyers, Naomi, good lawyers. Maybe Darius can. No, Naomi shook her head firmly. I can't ask him to fight my battles. This is my problem, my family, my inheritance. You don't have to face it alone. Not alone, I have you, Lily smiled. Always, but I'm just one lawyer, a really good one, but still just one. If you told Darius after the gala, Naomi interrupted. Let me have Saturday night. One night where I can just be a woman going to a party with a man she likes without all the other drama. Then on Sunday, I'll figure out what to tell him. 3 weeks, Naomi. I know. That's not a lot of time. No. They sat in silence, drinking their coffee, both thinking about the impossible situation. Finally, Lily spoke. For what it's worth, I think he really likes you, like actually likes you. I've seen the way he looks at you when he picks you up. That's not obligation, that's genuine interest. Naomi felt warmth spread through her chest. You think, I know, which is why you need to tell him the truth before this gets even more complicated. After the gala, Naomi promised. I swear. But even as she said it, she wondered if she was making a huge mistake. Thursday's shopping trip with Patricia and Shayla was exactly as horrible as Naomi expected. Patricia dragged them to every expensive boutique on Michigan Avenue, rejecting dress after dress as not good enough, or too simple, or not impressive enough for a billionaire's girlfriend. I'm not his girlfriend, Naomi protested for the 100th time. Yet, Patricia corrected, holding up a sparkly gold monstrosity. What about this one? I'd look like a disco ball. Eye-catching. Shayla was recording everything, narrating for her followers. So we're dress shopping for the ball, I mean gala, and Patricia is being so extra right now. Naomi doesn't appreciate couture, y'all. I appreciate not looking ridiculous, Naomi muttered. They were in the 7th store when Naomi finally found it. A dress that made her stop and stare. It was a deep emerald green that would complement her brown skin perfectly. The design was elegant, a fitted bodice with a flowing skirt, off-the-shoulder sleeves, and delicate beading that caught the light without being too flashy. It was sophisticated, beautiful, and completely her style. That one, Naomi said, pointing. Patricia looked at it and frowned. It's too simple. I like it. It doesn't say marry me. Good, because I'm not proposing to anyone. Naomi grabbed the dress. I'm trying this on. In the dressing room, Naomi slipped into the emerald gown and looked at herself in the mirror. She looked beautiful. Not like she was trying too hard or pretending to be someone else. Just herself, but elevated. This was the dress. When she came out to show Patricia and Shayla, even they couldn't argue. Okay, fine, Patricia admitted grudgingly. It's nice. It makes your skin glow, but we need to do something dramatic with your hair and makeup to compensate for the simple dress. My hair and makeup will be fine, Patricia. I'm hearing professionals. No, Naomi. I said no. Naomi's voice was sharp enough that other shoppers looked over. I will wear this dress. I will do my own hair and makeup, and you will not interfere. This is my date, MY life, MY decision. Are we clear? Patricia's face turned red, but something in Naomi's tone made her back down. Fine, but if you mess this up. I know, Patricia. You've made it very clear what's at stake. They bought the dress. Patricia insisted on paying, which was weird since it was technically Naomi's father's money anyway, and went home. That night, Naomi got a text from Darius. Can't wait for Saturday. You're going to be the most beautiful woman there, she smiled and texted back. You haven't even seen my dress yet. Doesn't matter what you wear. It's you I'm looking forward to seeing. Naomi's heart did that fluttery thing again. She was in so much trouble. Saturday arrived with Chicago's typical spring weather, sunny and beautiful, like the universe was cooperating with her one perfect night. Naomi spent the day getting ready, taking her time. She did her hair in elegant twists swept to one side with a few curls framing her face. Her makeup was natural but polished, highlighting her eyes and cheekbones, a deep berry lip color that complemented the emerald dress. When she finally put on the gown at 6:30, she barely recognized herself. She looked like the confident businesswoman she'd always wanted to be, like her father's daughter, like someone who belonged in a billionaire's world. There was a knock on her bedroom door. Come in, Naomi called, expecting Patricia. Instead, it was James Thompson, her father's old friend and the estate attorney. He was a distinguished-looking white man in his 50s with silver hair and kind eyes. James, Naomi was surprised. What are you doing here? I came to see you before your big evening, James said, smiling warmly. And to tell you that you look absolutely beautiful. Your father would be so proud. Tears pricked Naomi's eyes. Don't make me cry, I just did my makeup. James laughed. Sorry, I also wanted to give you something. He handed her a small box. Your father left this with me before he died. He said to give it to you when you needed it most. I think tonight qualifies. Naomi opened the box. Inside was her mother's necklace, a simple gold chain with a small diamond pendant. Naomi had thought it was lost after her mother died. Daddy kept it, she whispered. He kept everything of your mother's, James said gently. He wanted you to have it when the time was right. Naomi fastened the necklace around her neck. It sat perfectly against the emerald dress. There's something else, James said, his tone becoming serious. I've been reviewing your father's will, looking for loopholes in that marriage clause. I think we might have a case to challenge it. Naomi's heart jumped. Really? The clause was added after your father married Patricia when he was already showing signs of heart disease. We could argue he was under undue influence, not of sound mind. It would take time, maybe 6 months in court, but we might be able to break it. 6 months, Naomi's hope deflated. I have 3 weeks. I know, but I wanted you to know there are options. You don't have to marry someone just to keep your inheritance. We can fight this. Thank you, James. Naomi hugged him. Really, thank you. Your father was my best friend. I won't let Patricia steal what he built. We'll figure this out. He stepped back and smiled. Now go have a wonderful time tonight. You deserve some happiness. After James left, Naomi looked at herself in the mirror one more time. Her mother's necklace gleamed at her throat. Her father's strength seemed to flow through her veins. She could do this. One perfect night with Darius, then she'd face everything else. Her phone buzzed. I'm outside. Naomi grabbed her clutch and headed downstairs. Patricia and Shayla were waiting in the foyer, of course. Patricia had tears in her eyes, probably calculating wedding costs. You look perfect, Patricia said. Absolutely perfect. Now remember, smile, be charming, don't talk about anything controversial. And for God's sake, use your silverware properly. Naomi ignored her and opened the front door. Darius stood on the porch in a black tuxedo that fit him like it was made by angels. His fade was so sharp it could cut through steel. His dark eyes widened when he saw her. He breathed. Too much? Naomi asked nervously. Enough words in the English language, Darius said. He pulled out a small box. I brought you something. Inside was a corsage of small white roses with emerald ribbon. How did you know my dress would be green? Naomi asked as he carefully fastened it to her wrist. Lucky guess. He smiled. You ready? As I'll ever be. His car tonight was a classic, a beautiful black vintage Mercedes with leather interior that smelled expensive. If you're loving Naomi's transformation, make sure you smash that like button and tell me in the comments, what would you wear to a billionaire's gala? Now let's see what happens at this party. The drive to the Drake Hotel downtown was quiet but comfortable. Darius kept glancing over at her like he couldn't quite believe she was real. Starring, Naomi said, can you blame me? You're stunning. Stop. But she was smiling. Serious, Naomi. I'm going to have the most beautiful date at this entire event. Everyone's going to be jealous. You're ridiculous. I'm honest. They pulled up to the Drake Hotel where a red carpet was laid out and photographers were waiting. Naomi's stomach dropped. There are cameras, she said. The charity publicity, Darius explained. We can skip them if you want. Go in the side entrance. Most men would have insisted on the photo op. Darius was giving her an out. No, Naomi said, straightening her spine. Let's do it. You sure? I'm with you. I can handle some cameras. Darius's smile could have lit up the city. That's my girl. Asterisk my girl. The words made Naomi's heart soar and break at the same time. Darius got out and came around to open her door, offering his hand like a true gentleman. Naomi took it and stepped out onto the red carpet. Camera flashes exploded immediately. Mr. Kane, who's your date? Darius, look this way. What's your name, miss? Darius kept his hand on the small of Naomi's back, protective and steady. They smiled for a few photos, then he guided her inside before the questions got too invasive. The ballroom was breathtaking. Crystal chandeliers hung from the ceiling, tables were decorated with white roses and gold accents, and a live orchestra played soft jazz in the corner. Everyone was dressed in designer gowns and expensive tuxedos. Naomi had never felt more out of place in her life. Okay? Darius asked quietly. Just overwhelmed with me. I'll protect you from the boring conversations. He squeezed her hand. Come on. Let me introduce you to some people. The next hour was a blur of introductions. Darius introduced Naomi to business partners, investors, colleagues, all of them polite but clearly curious about who she was. Then Naomi met Marcus Reed, Darius's best friend and VP of operations. Marcus was a good-looking black man in his late 20s with an infectious smile and immediately friendly energy. So you're Naomi. Marcus said, shaking her hand enthusiastically. Finally, Dee's been talking about you nonstop for weeks. Naomi said this, Naomi did that. I was starting to think you were imaginary, Marcus, Darius said warningly. What? I'm just saying you're all he talks about. Marcus grinned at Naomi. It's nice to see him actually happy for once. Usually he's all work, work, work. You're good for him. Naomi felt herself blushing. We've only been seeing each other a few weeks. Yeah, but Dee doesn't do casual. If he's bringing you here, meeting everyone, that's serious. Marcus wiggled his eyebrows. Real serious. Marcus, don't you have somewhere else to be? Darius asked. Nope, I'm good right here embarrassing you in front of your girl. Despite herself, Naomi laughed. She liked Marcus immediately. They talked for a while, Marcus telling embarrassing stories about Darius in college, Darius trying to defend himself, all of them laughing. Then the music changed, becoming slower and more romantic. Dance with me? Darius asked, offering his hand. Naomi took it and he led her to the dance floor. His hand settled on her waist, her hand on his shoulder. They swayed to the music, surrounded by other couples but somehow alone in their own bubble. Thank you for coming tonight, Darius said softly. I know this isn't really your scene. It's not so bad, Naomi admitted. Marcus is fun, likes you. That's rare. Marcus is protective of me. He usually hates everyone I date. Many people have you dated? Honestly, not many. I told you I have trust issues. Darius looked down at her. But with you, it's different. I trust you, Naomi. I don't know why, but I do. Guilt hit Naomi like a punch to the stomach. He trusted her, and she'd been lying to him from the beginning. Not about her feelings, those were becoming terrifyingly real, but about everything else. The will, Patricia, the marriage deadline. Darius, there's something I need to tell you, Darius interrupted. Something I should have told you before. Naomi's heart stopped. What? I know about the will. World tilted. Naomi whispered. The marriage clause, the deadline, Patricia's plan to inherit if you're not married by your 27th birthday. Darius's voice was gentle but firm. I know, Naomi. Naomi pulled away from him, her mind racing. How? Marcus is very good at research. After our first date, something felt off about the whole setup. Your stepmother was too pushy, too invested, so I had Marcus look into your family situation. Darius stepped closer. I know Patricia married your father for money. I know about the will. I know she's been pressuring you. Naomi felt like she couldn't breathe. How long have you known? Since our second date. Second, Naomi's voice rose. Several people looked over. She lowered it to an angry whisper. You've known for weeks and you didn't say anything. I wanted you to tell me yourself, Darius said. I was waiting for you to trust me enough to be honest. Trust you. You had me investigated to protect you. I don't need protecting. Naomi's hands were shaking. I need air. She turned and walked quickly off the dance floor, heading for the balcony. Behind her, she heard Darius calling her name, but she didn't stop. The balcony overlooked Lake Michigan, the water dark and endless under the night sky. Naomi gripped the railing, trying to calm her racing heart. The door opened behind her. Naomi, please listen, Darius said. You had no right, Naomi said, not turning around. My family, my problems, you had no right to investigate me. You're right, I'm sorry. Darius moved to stand beside her. But I'm not sorry I found out, because now I can help you. Don't want your help. Why not? Because this is my life. Naomi finally looked at him, tears threatening. My father's legacy, my inheritance, my fight. I don't need some billionaire swooping in to save me like I'm helpless. I don't think you're helpless, Darius said quietly. I think you're one of the strongest people I've ever met, but you don't have to fight alone, Naomi. You have people who care about you, Marcus, your friend Lily, me. You don't even really know me. I know you eat lobster with your hands when you're nervous. I know you light up when you talk about your father. I know you're terrified of losing his legacy, but even more terrified of letting people close. I know you wear mismatched clothes and do your hair in 7 tiny buns to push people away because you think it's safer than letting them in. Darius took her hand gently. I know you, Naomi Williams, and I'm falling for you. Have been since that first ridiculous date. Naomi's tears spilled over. This is so messed up. I know. I was supposed to scare you away. That was the whole plan, be so awful you'd never want to see me again. I figured that out pretty quickly, Darius said with a small smile. No one accidentally eats that badly. Despite everything, Naomi laughed through her tears. It didn't work. Even close. Darius wiped away her tears with his thumb. You know what actually happened? I fell in love with the woman who was brave enough to make a fool of herself to protect what she cared about. I fell for your loyalty, your strength, your heart. You can't love me. We barely know each other. Then let's get to know each other, really know each other. No more games, no more secrets, just us. Darius's dark eyes were intense. But first, let me help you with Patricia. How? Marry me? Naomi's heart stopped. What? Not for real, Darius said quickly. A business arrangement. We get married on paper, you secure your inheritance, then after everything settles, we quietly annul it. Patricia can't touch your father's estate, you get what's rightfully yours, and we buy time to figure out what we really want. That's insane. You need to be married by your 27th birthday. That's 2 weeks and 5 days away. We do a quick courthouse wedding, satisfy the will's requirements, and you're free. Naomi stared at him. Why would you do that? What do you get out of it? Time with you, Darius said simply. A chance for us to see if this is real without the pressure of that deadline hanging over you, and the satisfaction of knowing Patricia doesn't win. You'd marry a woman you barely know just to help her. Marry the woman I'm falling in love with to give us both a real chance, Darius corrected. No pressure, Naomi. If you say no, we'll figure out something else. But this is the fastest, cleanest solution. Naomi's mind was spinning. It was crazy, absolutely insane, but it might actually work. Need to think, she said, of course. Darius stepped back. Take all the time you need. Well, 2 weeks and 5 days, he smiled. Too soon for jokes, way too soon. They stood on the balcony in silence, the Chicago skyline glittering around them, the lake whispering below. Finally, Naomi spoke. If, and this is a huge if, I agreed to this crazy plan, what would it look like? Simple courthouse ceremony, just us and 2 witnesses, Marcus and Lily. We sign the papers, file them, satisfy the will's requirements. Publicly, we're married. Privately, we take our time getting to know each other for real. No rushing, no pressure. And if after a year you decide this isn't what you want, we quietly annul it and part as friends. If Patricia finds out it's fake, she won't. Legally, it's real. That's all that matters for the will. Naomi thought about her father's legacy. The 12 dealerships he'd built from nothing. The house she grew up in. Everything Patricia was trying to steal. She thought about James's words. They could fight the will, but it would take months, maybe years. And in the meantime, Patricia would drain the estate dry with legal fees. She thought about Darius, this man who barely knew her but was willing to marry her to help her keep what was hers. This is crazy, Naomi said again. Completely, Darius agreed. We could both regret this. Could. My stepmother is going to be unbearable, probably. Naomi looked at him, really looked. At his sharp fade and kind eyes and the slight smile playing at his lips. At the man who'd seen through all her defenses and stuck around anyway. Okay, she heard herself say. Darius's eyes widened. Okay, let's do it. Let's get married. Smile that spread across Darius's face was like sunrise. Yeah. Naomi couldn't believe she was agreeing to this. But we do this my way. We tell Patricia after it's done. I don't want her involved in the planning or the ceremony. Just us, Marcus and Lily. Deal. Darius pulled her into a hug and Naomi let herself relax into his arms. He was warm and solid and smelled like expensive cologne and something uniquely him. We're really doing this, she mumbled against his chest. We really are. This is the craziest thing I've ever done. Thing I like crazy. Darius pulled back to look at her. For the record. Even if this is just a business arrangement at first, I meant what I said. I'm falling for you, Naomi Williams, for real. This is a terrible foundation for a marriage, Naomi said, or the best one. We're going into it honest, with clear expectations and real affection. That's more than most people have. He had a point. They went back inside to the gala and Naomi tried to act normal, but her mind was racing. She was going to marry Darius Kane in less than 3 weeks. To save her inheritance and spite her evil stepmother, this was either the smartest or stupidest decision of her life, and she honestly had no idea which. The next morning, Naomi called an emergency meeting with Lily at their usual coffee shop. What? Lily nearly spit out her latte. Getting married to Darius in 2 weeks. Naomi, that's crazy, insane, impulsive. I was going to say brilliant, Lily said slowly. It actually solves all your problems. You satisfy the will's requirements, keep your inheritance, and buy time to figure out your feelings. So you think it's a good idea? I think it's a necessary idea. And honestly, I've seen you two together. There are worse people to have a fake marriage with. It won't be completely fake, Naomi admitted. I really like him, Lily, actually like him. When I'm with him, everything feels easier, less scary. Then this is perfect. You get your inheritance and the guy. Unless it all falls apart and I end up heartbroken and broke. Glass half empty much? Lily pulled out her tablet. Okay, let's plan this. You need a marriage license, which requires 3 days waiting period in Illinois. Then a courthouse ceremony. We can do this. They spent the next hour planning. Lily would be Naomi's witness. Marcus would be Darius's. They'd get the license on Monday, wait the required 3 days, and have the ceremony on Thursday, exactly 1 week before Naomi's birthday. What are you going to tell Patricia? Lily asked. Nothing. She finds out after. She's going to lose her mind. Naomi smiled. Let her. Monday morning, Naomi and Darius met at the Cook County Clerk's office to apply for their marriage license. It felt surreal, sitting in the government office with forms and fees, making one of the biggest decisions of their lives so casually. Middle name? The clerk asked Naomi. Rose, Naomi Rose Williams. Clerk typed, then turned to Darius. And yours, Alexander, Darius Alexander Kane. Purpose of marriage. Darius looked at Naomi, his eyes warm. Love. Naomi's heart did a somersault. They signed the forms, paid the fee, and walked out with their marriage license. 3 days, Darius said, looking at the paper. Then you're going to be Mrs. Kane. Or you'll be Mr. Williams, Naomi teased. Like the sound of that, actually. They stood on the courthouse steps, Chicago bustling around them, holding a piece of paper that would change both their lives. "Are we really doing this?" Naomi asked. Darius took her hand. "We really are, but Naomi, if at any point you want to back out, we can. No judgment, no hard feelings. I'm doing this to help you, yes, but also because I want to, because I believe in us. But your comfort and happiness come first, always." And that's when Naomi knew she was making the right choice, not because it solved her problems with Patricia, not because it saved her inheritance, but because Darius Kane was a good man who genuinely cared about her. And maybe, just maybe, this crazy plan could turn into something real. "Thursday," Naomi said. "Let's do it Thursday." The next 3 days passed in a blur. Naomi kept her normal routine so Patricia wouldn't suspect anything. She went to the dealerships, her father's business that would soon officially be hers again. She had dinner with Patricia and Shayla, enduring their questions about when Darius would propose. "These things take time," Naomi said vaguely. "You don't have time," Patricia screeched. One week until your birthday. I'm aware. Maybe we should set up more dates." "I could call other matchmakers, find backup options." "No," Naomi said firmly. "I'm handling it." Patricia looked suspicious but backed off. Wednesday night, Naomi packed a small bag. Tomorrow, after the courthouse ceremony, she and Darius had agreed she would move into his penthouse downtown, at least temporarily, to make the marriage look legitimate. Plus, it would get her away from Patricia. She looked around her childhood bedroom one last time. This house held so many memories. Her father teaching her to ride a bike in the backyard. Her mother reading bedtime stories. Birthday parties and Christmas mornings and ordinary Tuesday nights. Tomorrow, everything would change. Her phone buzzed. Darius. Nervous, terrified, she texted back, "Me too. But good terrified, is there such a thing with you?" "Yeah." Naomi smiled and went to bed, her mother's necklace still around her throat, her father's strength in her heart. Thursday morning dawned clear and beautiful. Naomi wore a simple white sundress, nothing fancy. Something that felt right. She did her hair in loose curls and minimal makeup. Lily picked her up at 9 a.m., both of them giddy with nervous energy. "Getting married," Lily squealed as they drove downtown. "Getting married," Naomi repeated, still not quite believing it. They met Darius and Marcus at the Cook County Courthouse. Darius wore dark jeans and a crisp white shirt, casual but elegant. When he saw Naomi, his entire face lit up. "You look beautiful," he said. "It's just a sundress." "You'd look beautiful in a potato sack." Marcus made gagging noises. "Y'all are disgusting, I love it." Ceremony itself was quick and simple. A judge in a small office, the four of them crowded in. The judge read the standard vows, asked if they took each other as spouses. "I do," Darius said, his voice steady. "I do," Naomi whispered, and meant it more than she expected. Darius slid a simple gold band onto her finger. They'd picked out rings the day before, nothing flashy, just elegant and real. "You may kiss," the judge said. Darius looked at Naomi, silently asking permission. She nodded. His kiss was gentle, sweet, and over too quickly. But in that brief moment, Naomi felt something shift. This started as a business arrangement, a solution to a problem, but somewhere along the way it had become real. They signed the marriage certificate, Lily and Marcus signed as witnesses, and just like that, Naomi Williams became Naomi Kane. "Congratulations," the judge said cheerfully. "You're married." Outside the courthouse, Marcus pulled out his phone. "Okay, we need at least one photo. You can't get married without a photo." They stood on the courthouse steps, Naomi in her white sundress, Darius in his white shirt, both of them grinning like idiots. Marcus snapped the photo. "Perfect, you two actually look happy." "Are happy," Darius said, pulling Naomi close, and Naomi realized it was true. Despite the unconventional circumstances, despite everything, she was genuinely happy. "Lunch," Marcus suggested. "We need to celebrate." They went to Lou Malnati's, where else? And ate deep dish pizza and laughed and toasted with root beer since it was barely noon. "To Mr. and Mrs. Kane," Lily said, raising her glass. "To Naomi and Darius," Marcus corrected. "May this crazy plan actually work out." "To family," Darius said, looking at Naomi. "The one we're born into and the one we choose." They clinked glasses and Naomi felt tears prick her eyes. She had a husband now. A real legal husband who looked at her like she was his whole world. After lunch, Marcus and Lily left to give them privacy. "Ready to go home?" Darius asked. "Your place or mine?" Or he corrected. "But we should probably stop at your place first to get your things and maybe tell Patricia." Naomi's stomach dropped. "Oh God, Patricia. Have to tell her eventually." "Eventually be never," Darius laughed. Come on, I'll be right there with you. They drove to the Lincoln Park brownstone. Naomi's hands were sweating as they pulled up. We can do this another day, Darius offered, seeing her anxiety. No, let's get it over with. They walked up to the front door together. Naomi took a deep breath and went inside. Patricia and Shayla were in the living room watching some reality show. Naomi, Patricia jumped up. Where have you been? I've been calling. We need to discuss your birthday party next week. I've planned something special to maybe attract more eligible. She stopped when she saw Darius. Oh. Darius, what a lovely surprise. Hello, Patricia. Shayla, Darius said politely. Shayla was already recording on her phone. Hey, Darius, looking good. We have some news, Naomi said, her heart pounding. News? Patricia's eyes lit up with hope and greed. Naomi held up her left hand, showing the gold wedding band. Darius and I got married this morning. Room went completely silent. Patricia's mouth opened and closed like a fish. Shayla's phone slipped from her hand. What? Patricia finally managed. We got married, Darius said calmly, putting his arm around Naomi. At the courthouse, it's legal and official. But Patricia's face was turning red. You can't just get married without telling me, without a proper wedding. Can and we did, Naomi said firmly. It's done, Patricia, I'm married, which means the will's requirements are satisfied. The inheritance is legally mine. Patricia's expression cycled through shock, anger, and finally calculation. Well, this is wonderful. Unexpected but wonderful. My stepdaughter married to a billionaire. Oh, the wedding reception we'll have, the announcement in the papers. Shayla, get your phone, we need to. No, Naomi interrupted. What? No reception, no announcement, no involvement from you at all. Naomi straightened her spine. In fact, I'm moving out today. I'm moving in with my husband. You can't just leave. I can. This is Darius's house now anyway, since I own it and he's my spouse. Legally, you're living in our home, Patricia. So actually, maybe you should leave. Patricia's face went from red to purple. You ungrateful little, after everything I've done for you. Everything you've done for me, Naomi's voice rose. You married my father for his money. You made my life miserable for 5 years. You tried to force me into marriage just so you could steal my inheritance. You've done nothing for me except make me feel small and worthless. How dare you speak to me like? I dare because I'm done, Patricia. Done with your manipulation. Done with your threats. Done with you. Naomi took Darius's hand. I'm going upstairs to pack my things, then I'm leaving, and I want you out of this house by the end of the month. You can't throw me out. Actually, she can, Darius said calmly. This house belongs to Naomi through her inheritance, which is now secure thanks to our marriage. As her husband, I'm also legally entitled to make decisions about our property, and we've decided we want you to leave. Patricia looked at Shayla desperately. Say something. Shayla was still staring at her phone, which had been recording the whole thing. This is going to get so many views, she mumbled. Patricia's face crumpled. For just a moment, Naomi almost felt sorry for her. Almost. 30 days, Naomi said more gently. I'll give you 30 days to find a new place. That's more than generous. She went upstairs without waiting for a response, Darius following close behind. In her room, Naomi started pulling clothes from her closet, her hands shaking with adrenaline. You were amazing, Darius said. I was mean. You were honest. There's a difference. He started helping her pack. Are you okay? I don't know. I just told off my stepmother, got married, and I'm moving out of my childhood home all in one day. I'm kind of a mess. Darius pulled her into a hug. A beautiful mess. And you're not alone. Whatever happens next, we face it together. Naomi leaned into him, breathing in his scent, letting his steady heartbeat calm her racing pulse. They packed 3 suitcases of clothes and essentials. Naomi took her father's photo from the study, her mother's jewelry box, and a few other precious items. When they came back downstairs, Patricia was still in the living room, sitting on the couch with her face in her hands. Shayla sat beside her, scrolling through comments on the video she'd apparently already posted. 30 days, Naomi said again, softer this time. And Patricia, I hope you find whatever you're looking for, but you won't find it by trying to steal from other people. Patricia didn't respond. Naomi and Darius loaded her things into his car and drove away from the brownstone. Naomi watched it disappear in the side mirror, feeling a strange mix of sadness and relief. You okay? Darius asked, reaching over to take her hand. Yeah, actually I really am. They drove to Darius's penthouse in the Gold Coast, a stunning modern space with floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking Lake Michigan. Welcome home, Mrs. Kane, Darius said, carrying her bags inside. Naomi looked around at the sleek furniture, the gorgeous view, the space that was now hers too. "This is surreal," she said. "Good surreal or bad surreal?" Still deciding. She turned to him. "So what happens now? What does a fake marriage look like day to day?" "I was thinking we just live," Darius suggested. "No rules, no pressure. We get to know each other, we figure out what this is, and we see where it goes. That's simple, that's simple." Darius moved closer. "Unless you want to make it complicated, I'm good with simple." He smiled. "Are you hungry? I make excellent scrambled eggs." The billionaire CEO cooks. The billionaire CEO had a single mom who made sure he knew how to take care of himself. Darius headed to the kitchen. "Come on, let me make you dinner on our wedding day." Naomi followed him, watching as he pulled out eggs and cheese and vegetables, moving around his kitchen with easy confidence. This was her life now. Married to a man she'd known for a month, living in a penthouse, starting over. It was terrifying and exciting and completely insane. But looking at Darius, at his sharp fade and warm smile and the way he looked at her like she was precious, Naomi thought maybe, just maybe, this could actually work. 1 week later, Naomi's 27th birthday arrived on a sunny Saturday morning. She woke up in Darius's bed, their bed now with his arm draped over her waist. They'd been taking things slow, sleeping in the same bed but not rushing into anything physical beyond cuddling and sweet kisses. "Happy birthday, wife," Darius mumbled sleepily. "Happy birthday, deadline day," Naomi replied. They'd filed all the necessary paperwork with James Thompson the day after the wedding. The inheritance was legally secured. The 12 car dealerships, the brownstone, the money, all of it officially Naomi's. Patricia had moved out 2 days ago, taking Shayla with her. The house was being cleaned and prepared for Naomi and Darius to move into. They decided the penthouse was great, but the brownstone had too many good memories to sell. "Have something for you," Darius said, reaching over to his nightstand. He handed her a small wrapped box. Inside was a key. "What's this?" Naomi asked. "To your father's main dealership. I talked to James and the managers. Everything's ready for you to take over operations whenever you want. It's yours, Naomi. Your father's legacy. Yours to run however you see fit." Tears filled Naomi's eyes. "Darius, your father built something amazing. You should be the one to continue it." He wiped away her tears gently. "Happy birthday, beautiful." Naomi kissed him, putting all her gratitude and affection and growing love into it. When they finally pulled apart, Darius was smiling. "So I take it you like the gift." "I love it. I love," she stopped herself. "You love what?" he prompted gently. Naomi took a breath. They'd agreed to take things slow, to not rush into declarations. But sitting here on her birthday in his arms with her whole future spread out before her, she couldn't hold it back. "Love you," she said simply. "I know it's fast and we agreed to take our time, but I love you, Darius Kane. Not because you saved my inheritance or because you married me or because you're successful. I love you because you're kind and funny and you see me, really see me, and you make me want to be brave." Darius's smile was like sunrise. "Thank God. Because I've been in love with you since you ate that lobster with your hands at Alinea. I just didn't want to scare you off by saying it too soon. Nothing about you scares me, not anymore." "Good." He pulled her close. "Because you're stuck with me now, Mrs. Kane, for at least a year per our agreement. What if I want longer than a year? Then we renegotiate." He kissed her forehead. "How about forever?" "Forever sounds perfect." They spent the morning in bed talking about their future. Naomi would take over running the dealerships. Darius would continue building his tech empire. They'd split time between the penthouse and the brownstone. Maybe get a dog. Definitely travel. And somewhere in the middle of planning their life together, the fake marriage stopped being fake at all. It became real. Beautifully, perfectly real. 6 months later, Naomi stood in front of Williams Automotive's main dealership, looking at the sign her father had hung 20 years ago. Under her leadership, the business had grown. She'd implemented new customer service programs, updated their technology systems, and opened a 13th location in Naperville. Her father would have been proud. Darius asked, coming up beside her. Today they were hosting a community event at the dealership. Free car safety checks for single parents in honor of Darius's mother and what she'd done to raise him. "Ready?" Naomi said, taking his hand. They walked inside together, greeting customers and employees. Lily was there with Marcus. The two of them had started dadding after the wedding, much to everyone's delight. Even James Thompson came, smiling proudly at everything Naomi had accomplished. Patricia hadn't contacted Naomi since moving out. Shayla occasionally commented on social media posts, usually something passive-aggressive, but Naomi had learned to ignore it. That evening, after the event ended successfully, Naomi and Darius drove to Navy Pier, their special spot. They walked to the end of the pier, the Chicago skyline glowing behind them, Lake Michigan stretching dark and endless ahead. "You know what today is?" Darius asked. "Saturday. 6 months since we got married." He turned to face her. "Our agreement was 1 year to decide if we wanted to make this permanent, remember? Well, I don't want to wait another 6 months. Darius got down on one knee. "What are you doing?" Naomi laughed. "We're already married, I know, but we never did this properly." He pulled out a small box. Inside was a stunning diamond ring. "Naomi Rose Williams Kane, you are the most extraordinary woman I've ever met. You're brilliant and brave, and you eat pizza like it's an Olympic sport. You make me laugh every single day. You've made me believe in love again. So I'm asking you properly this time, with a ring and a proposal and all the romance I should have given you the first time. Will you marry me? For real, forever, no business arrangement, just love." Naomi was crying and laughing at the same time. "We're already married, you ridiculous man. Is that a yes?" "Yes, of course yes. I'd marry you 100 times. Darius slid the ring onto her finger above the simple gold band and kissed her like they were the only two people in Chicago. When they finally pulled apart, both of them were grinning like fools. "Love you," Naomi said. "Love you more," Darius replied. "Possible. Definitely possible." They stood there arguing playfully about who loved whom more, the Ferris wheel turning slowly behind them, the city lights twinkling around them, their whole future stretching out ahead. Naomi thought about that first disastrous date at Alinea, how she tried so hard to scare him away, how she'd eaten lobster with her hands and worn mismatched clothes and done everything wrong, and how Darius had seen through all of it to the real her underneath. Sometimes the best things in life came from the worst plans. Sometimes love found you when you weren't even looking for it. And sometimes, eating lobster with your hands at a fancy restaurant was exactly the right move. 1 year later, Naomi stood in the backyard of the Lincoln Park brownstone, watching their friends and family celebrate. Today was their real wedding, the big celebration they'd never had the first time around. A beautiful outdoor ceremony in the garden where Naomi's father had taught her to ride a bike. White roses everywhere. Jazz music playing softly. Everyone they loved gathered together. Lily was the maid of honor, wearing emerald green. Marcus was the best man, making inappropriate jokes that had everyone laughing. Even James Thompson walked Naomi down the aisle, standing in for her father, tears streaming down his face. And Darius waited at the altar in his sharp tuxedo with his perfect fade, looking at Naomi like she was his entire world. They said their vows again, real ones this time, that they'd written themselves. "Promise to always laugh at your terrible jokes," Naomi said, making everyone chuckle. "Promise to never judge your eating habits," Darius replied, bringing down the house. They exchanged the same simple gold bands they'd worn for a year, adding the diamond ring Darius had given her at Navy Pier. "I now pronounce you husband and wife," the officiant said. Again, everyone cheered. Darius kissed Naomi, dipping her dramatically, and Naomi's heart felt so full she thought it might burst. This was her family now, the one she'd chosen, the one that chose her back. At the reception, Naomi gave a speech, thanking everyone for coming. "Year ago, I was scared and alone and fighting to protect my father's legacy," she said. "I thought I had to do everything by myself. But then this annoying billionaire wouldn't take no for an answer." She smiled at Darius. "He saw through all my defenses. He loved me when I was trying my hardest to be unlovable, and he taught me that asking for help isn't weakness, it's strength." She raised her glass. "To family, to love, to second chances, and to really good lobster." Everyone laughed and raised their glasses. Darius pulled Naomi onto the dance floor, and they swayed to the music just like they had at the gala a year ago. "Happy?" he asked. "Incredibly," Naomi replied. "Regrets? Only that I didn't grab that lobster with my hands sooner." Darius threw his head back and laughed, and Naomi joined him, and they danced under the stars in the garden where her father had lived and loved and taught her to be brave. The brownstone was theirs now, filled with new memories while honoring the old ones. The dealerships were thriving under Naomi's leadership. Darius's company had just launched a new initiative to provide technology training to underprivileged youth. They'd started a foundation in her father's name, helping single parents and supporting small businesses. Patricia had moved to Arizona with Shayla. They occasionally sent awkward Christmas cards. Life wasn't perfect, but it was real and full and beautiful. And it had all started with one disastrous date where Naomi ate lobster with her hands and Darius Kane fell in love. Moral of this story: sometimes the things we think will push people away are exactly what draws the right people closer. Authenticity, even messy, chaotic, butter dripping down your chin authenticity, is more attractive than any perfect facade. The people who truly love you will see through your defenses and love you not despite your flaws, but because of your whole, real, imperfect self. Don't be afraid to ask for help. Strength isn't doing everything alone. It's knowing when to accept support from the people who care about you. And finally, family isn't just about blood. It's about the people who show up, who fight for you, who see your worth when you can't see it yourself. Choose your family wisely and let yourself be chosen in return. Also, never underestimate the power of really good deep dish pizza and eating with your hands when you feel like it. Thank you so much for watching this story. Please like this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit that notification bell so you never miss our next story. Drop a comment and tell me, what would you do if you had to scare someone away on a blind date? And don't forget to share this with someone who needs to hear that being yourself is always enough. See you in the next story.